Okay, hi everybody. I want to talk a little bit about how to find a buying agent and what that looks like. I also want to apologize for the background noise. My cats have been very verbal today. Hopefully they won't nag us too much. But if you are interested in going on a showing or seeing a property, before that real estate agent can open the door, they have to have some kind of agreement with you. And I know that sounds scary, and sometimes you haven't even met that realtor yet and they want you to sign a piece of paper dedicating you're going to work with them, but it's not as scary as it sounds. I know anytime we sign contracts, we want to make sure we're not signing our life away and there's no hidden things written in it. But you have two choices, and not all realtors will let you know that. So pay attention to that, ask questions, make sure they're going over both options. Your first option is a one-time showing agreement saying, I open this particular address for you to see, and if you choose to purchase it, we are going to work together on that particular property because I introduced you to that property. It's also going to have commission built into it, but commission is negotiable. And if you're working with a good agent, they're going to ask the listing agent what the commission is on that property if the seller's already offering it. So if they're offering 2%, that listing agreement normally would reflect the 2%, so you as a buyer, you don't have to come out of pocket for anything else. However, other agents are going to stay firm on their commission, and if they want 3% and you agree and sign to 3%, but that property is only offering 2%, in your closing costs, that extra 1% is going to be reflected there. So hopefully they're communicating that and the fine print there, and you know what's going on. But that's why it's important to ask questions. So the second option is going to be a buyer-broker agreement, meaning the entire time you were looking for a home, you're going to work with this one agent and you've agreed to commission with this one agent. Again, negotiable commission, but you don't have to keep signing paper over and over and over and over again to open different doors. So it's nice to have one agreement for the term of how many days you agreed upon or until you purchase something in that area, versus a showing agreement, which is only for one property, and that can get a little repetitive if you want to see multiple properties that day, or if down the road you want to see a couple more, you're always going to have to sign that. It could be nicer if that commission changes per what the sellers are offering, or you can do a buyer-broker agreement to say offer 3% to this agent, but we want to put an offer in on this home that only offers like 1%. You can do an amendment to lower that commission if everyone's on the same page, or again, you're going to be expected to pay the difference on that. So what happens if you sign an agreement, either the showing agreement or the buyer-broker agreement, and you decide the relationship isn't going to work for y'all? People break up. Sometimes they don't agree on things. Sometimes there's too much miscommunication or not enough communication, and it's just not going to be something that either party wants to continue doing. It's the best practice to email each other stating our showing agreement or our buyer-broker agreement is null and void, as this is a written statement that we do not want to work together anymore. So a simple email, date, timestamp, if you want to be extra awesome, and attach the original contract to it as well, stating it's no longer a working relationship and we've decided to go our own separate ways. That gets you out of the contract, that gets you out of the agreement. However, it is slightly difficult if you already have a contract on a house. If you're actively involved in a contract and actively closing on that property, then you can no longer cancel that agreement. We're going to make it through closing, your agent's going to get paid, and then that contract is null and void after you go to closing. So it can get a little difficult if your relationship is rocky after you put an offer in, but in that point of time, you can do the best you can to work with each other, and usually you have an end goal in mind. There was a quit date. Before you put a contract in a home, you can cancel it in a written email. Super simple, really easy, and those contracts are adjustable. You can put amendments in up until you have a contract on a house as well. So usually by the time you're ready to write a contract, you know if you want to work with that person. But things happen, and we are in a professional business, and mistakes and relationships dissolve occasionally. So again, if you are wanting to see property and you know your agent, you're comfortable with your agent, you're gonna wanna go with the buyer broker agreement. That's gonna be an easier, time-saving agreement that's gonna dedicate you two together, and you know you can know and trust that agent. If you're not sure you wanna work with this agent, maybe it's the first time you met them, you're not sure where they stand in y'all's professional relationship, then you might wanna do the single showing agreement. Again, you can do both at any time, and both of them can be canceled before a contract on a house goes active. So as soon as you have an active contract and you have a closing date in mind, things get a little hairy, you're gonna have to work with each other, and just be open and honest about communication and if you have a problem with either one of you. But again, my name is Romy Wallace. I'm your local real estate agent, and I'm always here for information and questions.